Lead a one-man revolution from your armchair, talking cliches to listeners that aren't there. You call it warfare, but your wars aren't fair. If they were, there'd be suicide bombers in arms fairs.
And I'm here. We got an interview. Yes, my first interview on my channel. And people has been asking who I was going to ever interview. Man, by the blessing in the skies from the universe and the ancestors sent Cambatta.
Yeah.
Building. Salute. We got him in the building. He's honoring the ancestors right now. You know how we do.
Man, got the holy sacrament. You know what I mean? Got the whole sack of it. You know, come back with it. You know what we do, man.
Come over a little, Cambatta, to the camera. There you go, right there. There you go, right there. Okay, man. So how's your day so far, man?
Man, I don't even know, bro. Like I've been going for about 48 hours, no sleep, just writing, dog. Like literally freestyling, writing, singing. That's why my voice is fucked up and my face looks like the crypt keeper right now, dude. I'm all sunken in, dude. My face is in a sunken place, man. You know, because I sung with grace all night, dude. That's it, dude. That's why I'm still rhyming, dude. So I'm gonna be rhyming through this whole fucking joint.
That's right. Come over, get 2 more inches. Right there. No, hold on.
I'm gonna just adjust the cam, man.
Yeah, just the camera. Okay.
Oh shit! Here we go. I got it. Technical difficulties, people, but they understand. They on YouTube. They understand. Hold on, they understand. I got you. Yeah, you know. All right, here we go. Hold on, here we go. Balance. Okay, hold on. I gotta rig this real quick. I had it sitting on shit that just decided to not be there. There we go. All right. Gotta rig this up. Yeah, I'm working on it. 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Not 2 minutes, 2 seconds. There we go.
Okay.
Good.
You there? Just come over. Just you move your body over. There okay. You go.
This is good.
Move over some more.
Okay.
I know it's kind of weird.
Hold on. What should I move? Should I move the phone or should I move me? This is physics 101.
Move yourself. There you go, right there.
Move yourself.
Okay. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you for being on King's Kofi's Universe. Thank you for taking the time out to do this. I know you need rest. I know you can be doing other things, but for you to be here and for the subscribers and for the viewers and for your fans all around the world and throughout the African diaspora, man, we salute you for being right here, right now. So
yo, it's an honor, man. Thank you, man. It's a pleasure and an honor, man. It's all mine, man. It's amazing to be able to talk about this amazing art form we have, man. So it's a blessing.
Yeah, for sure. So my first question is, so what does Cambatta mean? Where did you get that name from?
So the pronunciation is Cambatta.
Cambatta.
Yeah, just like I mean, you probably ever heard of Africa Bambaataa?
Yes.
From the Zulu Nation. So it's like I'm the opposite. I'm the diametrical opposite, man. He came in with the production at the beginning of hip hop. It kind of brung that in. And then of course his storyline got perversed with some real evil doings. And I'm the one who's gonna I'm kind of like that dark horse. I'm like the I don't know if it's the white horse or the pale horse. I don't know which one come at the end, but I'm the one that yields the sword. So I'm the Cambatta, and that originates from my name is Cameron, and people call me Cam. They used to call me Killer Cam, but of course that name was already taken. So Cambatta was actually just they call that it's a combination word. Joel Santana had a song a long time ago called Santana's Town, and then he said, I'm old school like Bambaataa, no man's hotter. And I did a little freestyle. I was about 15 years old in high school, and I just was like, I just switched it to Cambatta, and it's just wrong. It was like, oh, that's me. But then as I grew up, That's actually a name. It's a name in Africa, specifically South Africa. There's an aviation center called Cambatta Aviation Center. Cambatta was also a name of a staff that was using the antiquities of Ireland. It was a royal staff or a scepter. Also, Cambatta is a like I said, it's a I forgot the name of what you call that kind of word, but when you smash them together, um, it's a cam is like a motor. It's also a visual equipment, a cam or a camera, and a bada in India and would is an underground form of currency. So it could mean either the vision of abundance, or it could also mean the mechanics of abundance. So it's a multifaceted name that throughout my life I've been able to extrapolate and recalibrate and redefine, especially after hearing what Bambaataa went through. So I constantly had to defend myself and be like, yo, like, people been like, yo, change your name, bro. Get away from that dude. That guy was a kiddie. He was a kiddie fiddler. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like, I don't want to be down with that kind of stuff, man. So. But Cambatta, that's the name right now, man.
Well, thank you. I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad you told me that, because I remember when I first heard of your music, my homeboy named Canoe Ra, he lives in Vegas. He's a bodyguard, and he was sending me music. And he was like, because I'm into like Professor Griff, KT, the archetype degree. So I know a lot of people. So he was like, yeah, check this dude out. And I heard your intro on KT, the art was it arch type the degree? I think it was
Arts
like
degree, KT the arts degree.
yeah. I was like, who is this dude? Bro, this dude going in like, ooh. I'm like, he's speaking some language. Okay, so that's when I heard of you. So I'm glad you gave me the thorough breakdown. Another question I want to ask you. How was it like growing up in New Haven, Connecticut? I see you're from New Haven, Connecticut, and it's also said that you relocated to Florida and you currently reside in the Bronx now.
Yeah, so I'm a traveler, man. But yeah, I spent my first 18 years in New Haven, Connecticut. For those that don't know, that's where Yale, the prestigious Ivy League school, Yale University is. It was also the last landing place of the Amistad slave ship. So the movie Amistad with Joseph Sinkay, where he said, "Let us free," that took place on the New Haven Green at the courthouse. It's also the birthplace of the world famous George Bush. So like everything gets created in its opposite. I had the two be born there. Couple other people were born there, but it's a very small little town. You know what I mean? The majority of Connecticut is like suburbia. So there's very select places where you'll find urban and black people. Um, if for me growing up, I was born in '87, so I grew up through the brunt of the zombie stage of the crack epidemic. So that was my life, you know what I mean? Seeing adults addicted to crack. However, I had a rich life as far as not rich financially. We struggled, but rich as far as, stimulation mentally. Like I had a Grammy, so I stayed in basketball, martial arts. We had an Afrocentric upbringing. I used to go to like a real old fashioned Hebrew church, Black Hebrew church. I was a smart kid, so I was able to do some things and go some places. But New Haven as a whole is very small. Uh, it's not even a sub. It's not even a sub market for music. So the talent that is born there and comes there usually stays there. Like very little opportunity. And most of that is because it is so close to. It's only an hour from New York, so. But I moved from New Haven when I was 18. I moved to Tampa, Florida, so I could pursue audio engineering, which was just an underlying excuse for me to do music. You know what I mean? It was like I didn't want to go to college. I want to do music, so I went to a school to study engineering. That only lasted about 6 months. I went into rapping, got a girl, got a job. But then after a while, I started coming to self knowledge. Around 23, I started studying, dealing with psychedelics, uh, reading, watching lectures, Phil Valentine, Bobby Hemmett, Terrence McKenna. I dealt with DMT, mushrooms, acid, mescaline, every psychedelic you can name. Practiced every form of mental building you could ever think of, like everything. I stopped working when I was about 25. I just said, I don't care. I don't care if I die. I'll never do anything else but work on my mind and rap. Like everything got sacrificed. So 23, I started coming to self. I moved out here to New York. And through that time in Florida, I developed myself as an artist. Came out with the Smoke and Mirrors album, mixtape series, as well as the Visionary series before that. Moved out here to Bronx, New York, 2015. And that's kind of where I started to make my leap into becoming more popular. Like I had a lot of grassroots fans from when I pre 2015, but post 2015 is when I came out with the Tupac song. When I dropped everything with Black Magik, who is the actual channel that you mentioned those people from KT the Arts Degree, not people, those gods, KT the Arts Degree, Professor Griff. You'll see a whole lot of people on there. Phil Valentine, Red and Blue Pill, who are actually KT the Arts Degree's twin brothers. Yeah,
Thank
yeah. So it's deep, man. Yeah, like all of that started happening since I came out here. So I've been out here since 2015. So 4 years now.
Okay, so a nice journey, nice expedition.
Oh yeah,
Like,
it's all rapping the whole time too.
that's right. That's right. So in your life, as far as growing up through a child or maybe through your teenage years, what made you start rapping? And who influenced you in hip hop rap when you was coming into yourself of saying, you know what, this is what I want to do. I want to do this.
Yeah. So I grew up in a house that was really, really musically based. My uncle, so I lived with my mom, my uncle, my grandma, and I had two sisters. My father wasn't there, but my uncle was a professional hip hop dancer. He used to pop lock and shit. So he was in the hip hop, but he was more into like KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane, people like that. My mom was into neo soul and soul music. I was more into neo soul and soul music. I'll be honest with you. Erykah Badu, D'Angelo, Bilal, people like that is really what I was into. It wasn't until I was about, excuse the ice cream trucks, man. I live in a
Don't
good
worry
hood,
about
man. I
it.
don't know if you're picking that up, yeah, like so around like 13 or so, I got Biggie Ready to Die. Then my boy, shout out my boy Los, man. He introduced me to Big L, Big Picture album, and this is all around the same time I started hearing Eminem, and it was really wordplay. It was the wittiness of hearing these punchlines. So off rip, I knew that rap music is not as musical and melodic and beautiful sounding as soul music, as gospel music is. Like that, it doesn't take a genius to know that that's not Earth, Wind, and Fire. You feel me? Like Wu-Tang is far from Earth, Wind, and Fire. So really, I had to figure out what it's the rhythm, it's the sound, it's the tonation, Busta Rhymes. You know what I mean? They got this certain, it's a staccato form, but it's moving. And but it wasn't until I heard that wordplay and I realized what that did to my mind when I heard Axe Beavis, I get nothing. Axe Beavis, I get nothing but head. That Big L said. That
Yeah.
line right there, it did something in my mind with words. It was a spell. It just casted a spell on you. It did something in your brain. He said it. He said a series of words that made your brain experience something that we're not used to. The teachers in school don't tell you about bars and punchlines and triple entendre rhyme schemes. They don't teach you that in English class. So you had to learn this through hip hop, and you had to learn this through street niggas who didn't even know that really they probably didn't even know how to define what they were doing. They just did it so naturally and innately. It was like, so when I heard what that was, and I was always a cognitive person, I was always like a witty kid. I was into acting and comedy when I was a kid. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, I just want to do that. So it was second nature for me. Like there was never a point where I couldn't rap. It was like there was almost no learning curve. because I was good at emulation. So like I could emulate Michael Jackson's voice, or like when I was real young, I could emulate any voice and do any like impression. So when it came to rap, I used to always emulate rappers. I could be like, yo, so I already knew what to do with my vocal cords. And then as far as rhymes, that's just basic math. And then wittiness was who I was. That's basically who I am as a human. So I mean, since the time I was 15, it was all punches. It was like, and I didn't see any difference between me and the best rappers in the world. So I would instantly, like, as soon as I was 15, I really started getting in the writing. I named myself Cambatta. At that moment, it was about competing with Cassidy, J.R. Ryder, Cameron, DMX. Like, I didn't see no peers. I wasn't competing with the kids. I was like, yo, I want to be the greatest of all time. So that's basically what I've been working on, man. It's been, you know, it's tough, you know, because we're talking about an invisible mental facility. You know what I mean? That you can't see, you don't see words, they just come out seamlessly. So to work on this skill set that there's no schools for, you got to be on yourself. This is personal homework. And then people telling you you're good and people validating you, you got to go above and beyond knowing you're good if you want to be great. So that's all I care about, man, and that's all I've gotten. You got to be careful what you wish for. When I was young, I said I wanted to be the greatest rapper of all time, but that comes with a responsibility because you can't be a great rapper without a story. And a great rapper with a story has to be a provocative story, and it has to almost have like these twists and turns. So I've had to go through the struggle. I've had the longest. It's like I've been dragged at the, you know, everybody's on a bandwagon, but I was on a rope. They forgot me. My ankle got twisted on a rope, and I just been dragging behind the buggy, behind the bandwagon, you know. So it's like, and I've been doing that for years, just getting stronger and calcifying, and my body is calloused, and my mind is sharper than it's ever been, and my rap skills are at this point, man, you know, and that's why I'm kind of going crazy like this. I'm just beyond frustrated. Like, it's not even fair anymore, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's gotten to that point, like, when it's like during this next couple years, you know, yeah, a couple months even, yeah, I'm about to release the plagues on, you know, really, I have basically no regard for life or health or wealth. To me, it's just about proving this point. You know what I mean? So that's what it's been, man. Since I got to New York, luckily I got my business partner. Shout out to Nick. Shout out to Eddie Deuce. Shout out brother Rich. Shout out everybody else who helps me. Everybody else who's down, you know who you are. Um, but that's the plan, man. You know what I mean? To really exhaust this, and this is the word of God. This is the highest form of language there's ever been. Hip hop music. It there's never been a time where we were able to obscure and abstract words like this. Rhyme schemes create this problem. It makes words go together that shouldn't typically go together and will never go together in regular streamlined conversation. Because if I'm trying to rhyme Kofi Skype, you know, I gotta say only right. I look like Mowgli's wife. Well, did Mowgli have a wife? Now I'm presenting questions that haven't been asked before. You know what I mean? You know, that's the kind of things that rhymes do. And that's all I'm concerned with, man. You know what I mean? And I don't mean to talk your ears off, but I feel like this is important.
This is your time, brother, because this is for your fans. These are for the people that are around the world. I'm all for you right now.
Yeah, that's it, man. But it's basically we're here. What are we doing here? You know what I mean? When the only way you'll know if a concept is solidified is if you can compare it to a blind person or to a deaf person. In other words, when we talk about wealth and lavishness and luxury and comfort, there's only a couple things humans can do, right? We can either be sitting, we can either be laying, we can be walking, standing, or running. Something in that level. So to a blind man, a car is a car. They don't know the difference between a Lamborghini and a Honda. To a blind man, a mansion in a regular house is just we're not outside anymore. That's it. You know what I mean? So when you really look at what we're doing here and what we're trying to do, man, we have a very limited spectrum of function, of thought. You know, of course, because we're these complex humans, we can really romanticize and add color to everything to give us limited possibilities and really, really occupy our time here on Earth so we don't just start, having panic attacks, because that's what would happen. If we really realized our limitation and that we're just on this tricky loop, then people wouldn't go nuts. We've been here for eternity. There's no time without humans. We're the people that quantify this. So, like, literally, like, you got to just pick your battle and go with it. And there's a couple things, obviously. For me, I haven't had kids yet. For anybody out there that's a father or a mother, that right there is the most valiant duty. And you could always justify your time here on Earth with that, right? Because then you could then now you have the justification to say that maybe if you can't do something above and beyond the human spectrum, then maybe you can raise somebody else that can, right?
Yes.
Because other than that, if you're on this planet and you're not raising a kid to do something better than you, then essentially you might, in the most apathetic, non-empathetic, most dry, cut and dry. If you're not creating humans and you're not creating anything else, you're not doing nothing. And if you are a creator and you're just replicating, you're not pushing it. You're just kind of you're kind of going with the current, man. So really for me, it's about pushing it. Like I got gifts, and I would be doing my genetics and my story and my friends and my family a disservice if I didn't dedicate every moment to trying to always do something new. And that's how the Tupac Murder Confessions came to be. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to do the hardest thing always. So that's it, man. That's kind of the story.
Well, we're going to definitely dive into that. Before I go to the next question, move over to the left 2 inches. I know.
Got you.
Right here. There you go. There you go.
Once London Bridge comes falling, so do the horsemen and everybody upon it.
Perfect. Right there.
Hold on. Let me just get the kingdom ready. There we go. All right, there we go.
Hey, a lot of knowledge, man. A lot of knowledge you dropping, and I appreciate this.
Hold on, that shit is yeah, there we go.
Okay. Man, thank you. So you got mixtapes and albums, you got Smoke and Mirrors, you got The Womb, you got The Crack Baby. You have any more of the Smoke and Mirrors? If I believe it's like a part 3, correct?
Well, the exact order is Visionary 1 and 2, which I made when I was in my early 20s. Those came out between years of 2008, 2011, somewhere in those years. I was in my early 20s. That was before I started even smoking weed. I was just running off of my natural innate abilities. Like I wasn't even writing every day. I was like writing a couple times a month. And I just kind of compiled these projects. And then once I turned 23, that's when I made the first Smoke and Mirrors, The Porch, which was my first psychoactive induced, album that I wrote, after dealing with marijuana and shrooms and shit like that. And then from there, we went to The Womb, and then we went to The Crack Baby. And then when I came out here, I kind of compiled them into a compilation for digital purposes and added 5 songs, and that was called DMT. And then I created a new series called Cambatta, which is like Cambatta, but this is Cambatta, so it's Kabbalah and Cam mixed together. It's called a portmanteau. Anytime you take 2 words and smash them together, it's called a portmanteau.
Okay.
So, like turducken or something like that, So yeah, Cambatta is a portmanteau for Cambatta and Kabbalah. And then I also have the project with Black Magik called Holy Ghost, where we have 2 right now. But I got another Visionary coming out soon, and then I got LSD coming out after that, man. So it's about to rain down, golden raindrops, man.
And you working hard, man. And I love that. I love that. I love the consistency. I love the intellectual endurance that you're putting into projects. It makes me feel good, man, because that's one thing I respect about a hip hop artist when they have the energy to put into their projects. Is because some people feel like, well, that was a good project, and we don't hear from that artist for another year or 2. But for somebody to continue to come back to back to back to back, it's like you give the fans what they exactly want, and that's everybody. It makes everybody happy, and it makes people feel support. Not
I think so. Try to just stay here. Maybe it's still recording.
Hello, sorry about that. Somebody I was trying to call. I feel like when hip hop artists drop something good or great, I feel at the end of the day, sometimes they'll take a minute to drop another great follow up. Be like, man, what's going on? And then you be on forever. So when you consistently drop and deliver, you just have, it's just you just show that, hey, I'm busy. Like I'm just busy, and I got y'all. I'm gonna support y'all. It's almost like y'all know y'all need that hit. I hate to even say it like that. I'm using that analogy, that hit. So I'm gonna continue to supply you with the hit.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's literally what it is. It is a drug. It's 100% a drug experience. Yeah. See, hip hop does something that no other form of art does. It presents a purely vicarious experience. This is highly scientific, man, and it's the most psychological thing that art can present. When you look at a painter, you're looking at the summation. You're looking at the totality of someone else's creation outside of you. It's happening externally. It's an objective. When you're watching a movie, it already assumes all of the senses. So you're already seeing externally the visual. You see the voice. You see where the voice is coming from. It's so complete. With music, it acts as if just like the internal voice. So you know how you got your conscious voice, your internal sound. The guy you're doing your dishes and you're not talking out loud, but inside he's like, damn, I gotta go. I'm gonna be late for work. Shit, my boss say anything, I'm gonna yell at that motherfucker. Damn, I left this. I gotta get gas. I don't even got time. That voice, right? So when you're playing music in your headphones, especially, you're hearing this voice. Now, what ends up happening is, I know this happens with me, is my favorite songs are all songs that I like to imagine that I sung, that I wrote. So I'll hear like a dope Al Green song and I'll be like, I just hear myself singing. It's like the voice in my head is me, like Al Green in that moment is me. It gives me the feeling as if I was singing, if I felt what he felt. And that's something that movies can't do, no matter how many, 3D will get there. 3D will get there soon. It'll give you that experience. But right now it's been music. It's been music the whole time. So when you're giving people something like this, and what I'm doing is I took the drugs and I really obscured them, right? So this is the perfect analogy, and I just thought about this. See, popular music is like weed and cigarettes. People can go that far. They're used to that. They're used to those drugs. It's like caffeine. Everybody loves caffeine. That's pop music. It's caffeine. Cigarettes and weed, that's like hip hop and rock music, right? What I'm doing is like DMT, literally. See, I took that experience and I intensified it. So in my lyricism, it's so braided, it's so layered, it's so metaphorical, there's so much entendre that the normal human being is scared of that. We innately know that words are spells, right? So even if you take the dumbest person in the world, they know that words have power whether they know it or not. It's one of those things. So when they hear a guy come on the track and I'm saying things in the kind of combinations that are just, I'm using references that people might hear me and think I'm almost satanic or Luciferian or demonic, and those are people that obviously don't even understand those words to be using them, right? So, but yeah, there's times where I am like that, but in the etymological sense, not in the figurative sense that people use them in the biblical terminology with some red horn guy, I'm sitting there praying to him. No. Language in itself, the property of language in itself and trying to express yourself in the physical realm is all demonic, because anything that takes you from spirit from spirit and animalizes you is demonic. Like when you're defrosting something, right? You take the frost out of it. Or when you descramble something, you're taking something that's scrambled and you're unscrambling it. To demon or to demand is to take what the primary thing that makes man is the spirit, right? So anything you do that's primal, sex, eating, fighting, that's all demonic, right? Music, essentially going to a club and dancing, a Christian will say, oh, that's secular. It's that they're right, but they're wrong. You know what I mean? Yes. Demonic things are a part of being a human. You know what I mean? Once you know what that means, right? And then you look at the word satanic and understand that that's basically this word saint, right? Satanic, Saint Nick, right? Santa, Saturn we're just talking about etymology here, man. That people don't understand, you know what I mean? So really, I'm presenting that aspect to Black music. There's been white people doing it the whole time, you know what I mean? There's books by Aleister Crowley. There's a lot that really get into the crevices of metaphysics. And these guys were wicked. Now, see, wicked and evil is different, right? These people were wicked and evil. They had a deceptive goal, you know what I mean, and that meant that had no form of empathy for human life. What I'm doing is I'm basically extrapolating the rawness of everything and not censoring it. So that's always going to be something that's going to be a niche in this world, So I came in the game and I picked a sword that was the hardest to yield. I didn't want to do what Drake did and what J. Cole did. They're stagnating themselves and they feel it. You know what I mean? They know that they're just basically talking to they're grown ass men talking to high school kids for the rest of their life, man. Where's the evolution in that? Hip hop been around for almost 40 years. We're using the same words. There's nobody updated the lexicon yet. That's it, dude. So I got to be the one to do it, and it's definitely a hard job because there's no validation for it. Nobody cares. You know what I mean? Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody's paying me to do it. I could die doing this, but to me, it's worth it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just like, you put your life on the line. I mean, for something that, that's bigger, that's bigger than the cost. I mean, a lot of people don't understand, like, you'd rather die on your feet, than, die standing up than being on your knees, being killed.
Mm-hmm.
Do you consider yourself to be a Pan-Africanist like Dead Prez, Killer Mike, Talib Kweli?
No, I don't even
have some type of label or some type of like, okay, I just want to make
no, man, but it comes off, it does come off in the same similar manner, because the closer you get to the crux or to the real middle point, the real meeting point, the real epicenter, the epic, the echelon of what we're getting towards, it all comes together. It's all the same. It's gonna sound like the gods and earth. It's gonna sound like supreme mathematics. It's gonna sound like aspects of Islam and all of that. But essentially, no. Like I don't like any form of extreme belief. I don't really like to believe. You know what I mean? Like there's things that I innately know. There's things that make sense. There's things that I don't have to learn, that I can only recollect. And those are the compasses I choose to go by. And when it comes to melanin, really every living being on this planet has melanin. Specifically black, of the original melanin, is to humans as green chlorophyll is to plants.
Mm-hmm.
Original man is black. Doesn't mean it's this cool black guy with his fist up. It's not that dude. It means this color in our skin is what humans are. You know what I mean? So when we're talking about black man and white man, it's down to the most elementary point. Now I have black pride, and I love Africa. I love everything about the culture, because I want to be. I want to be a part of something. You know what I mean? There's a part of me genetically. I look in the mirror, I see this being, this form, right? I don't know where it actually came from. I know I came from my mom's belly. I know my parents are black. They're melanated people. Um, as far as the culture and who set up the language and the names, and this shit was already invented when I came here. I didn't really have a choice in the matter. So I don't really associate with these people as far as their belief system. But anybody who's smart and who has that level of intellect and I can learn from, I consider them teachers, because I could sift through everything and get what I need from anybody. But as far as any movement, I'm not the right person from that. I'm the guy in the shadows that studies everything and that's able to live without any structured morality that I have to, a code that I have to live by. So I'm a mercenary in a sense. I'm an individual that can stay free, so I can study and go beyond the boundaries. And because I know who home is, I can always come back to the Pan Africanists and the Black Panthers and everybody else, and I can give you the raw truth because I'm not gonna give it to anybody else. But yeah, I love Black people. I love man. I love human beings. I feel like obviously there's things on this planet that were, that happened, some devastating things. I have some concepts on that too, man. I believe that everything happens for a purpose. And when a man masters something, right? Take a black man on this planet for how many years, right? Already mastered it to the point where they created the perfect structures already. What do? You have to create a situation for them to get better. Like if you have a rose garden, right? And you take a rose garden, you put a parasite in that rose garden, it's gonna die. But when it comes back, it's gonna develop a defense mechanism so that way that bug doesn't come and get it, and that's how it grows thorns. That's the only way. That you have to have a mutation at some point in order to evolve 100%. So I believe that this is something that when we look at time, right? Because if we were here for millions of years and it was all black people for all the time, right? Then that means the niggas had their time, right? We just happen to be living in a time where somebody else figured out a way to get their shit. You feel me? Like, and of course they're gonna do that, right? Why wouldn't you? Hey,
Yeah.
bro, if you walk down the street and you seen LeBron James, you'd be like, what the fuck? Of course. Now they got Vikings, they got some big diesel niggas in the mountains too. So we can't always be like, oh, black people. We do. But at the same time, man, like this is big. This is way bigger than that, bro. It's like God wasn't some guy who was like, yo, I'm gonna just make some cool ass black people. And that's what it's gonna be. It's way deeper than that. Like this right here allows us to absorb the sun, right? Now, obviously, white people are alive, so they have an ability to get sun too. They're not without melanin. It's a form. It's a different form. Something happened, but that might have some kind of spiritual effect on how on other layers of it. I don't know, man. Like I was born after all the books. Who wrote these books, man? A lot of the books they wrote. That's why we believe it, right? But that could be deception too. You know what I mean? So, like I just know that I love who I am when I look in the mirror, and other people that look like me, I relate to them because that's what humans do. But I question and I dig through everything. You know what I mean? I could see the ego, the bravado, the narcissism in everything, and just being a human in general. Animals don't got a problem. Animals don't got these problems. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
us.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And I agree with you 100% with that. So growing up, or just even now, can you name some of your favorite maybe scholar heroes that maybe like maybe felt like yeah that person right there, it could be somebody in your neighborhood, family, it can be Malcolm X, it can be whoever, somebody on TV,
Yeah.
somebody that was like a hero to you, a scholar.
Yeah, so in no chronological order, I'll say Khalid Muhammad. I believe that he was the sharpest dude ever.
A great
Sharpest ever.
great
Huh?
orator, a great orator.
The sharpest human being I've ever heard, right? And then we got of course Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali.
Mm-hmm.
Muhammad Ali for an athlete was extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his mind, his acuity, his speech, his language, his ability. He was so poetic. He was bars all the time. So we got Malcolm. I love people who communicate well. I believe that that's the perfect representation of what's inside, right? So all we are is language. We're walking language. We're like basically hands that can just, or wireless hands, you know. Um, Basically, so we got Khalid Muhammad, we got Malcolm X, we got Muhammad Ali, Bruce Lee,
Yeah.
amazing philosophy. Um, Phil Valentine, Bobby Hemmett,
Mm-hmm. Love Bobby Hemmett.
A. Rashid,
That's my
um,
boy.
yeah, Red Pill, Blue Pill, all taught me. Um, of course, Brother Rich. I would also say Terrence McKenna,
Mm-hmm.
who's he's a the the foremost on psychedelics. Like his linguistics. Like here's the brunt of it, right? Because before I give you the brunt of it, I'll say Terrence McKenna and then Alan Watts. Um, and Terrence McKenna specifically, as a wordsmith, as a person who speaks, right? He's somebody that everybody should get into, whether you you like white people or not. You know. I believe that you have to study them if you want to get the best form of language, though, because what are we speaking? You know, we're speaking English. You know, we've only been speaking this language well for what 100 years, 100. You know, when did Frederick Douglass and Nat Turner? You know, I don't and relatively, I guess Frederick Douglass was like really like way ahead of his time as far as being somebody who was a linguist in the
Yeah.
pre 1900s, right? So
Definitely.
so basically, like, okay, let's give us 200 years. Let's say we got 200 years of good English speech, and that's not even all of us. That's a small majority. Um, Language is the thing that gets passed through genetics. This is why animals can come out and they don't need to learn. They know what to hunt for. There's an internal linguistic system that can take these choices. It's an intuitive linguistic system inside of their body that knows how to translate the world, right? We have that too, right? But they have it more for their language, and it goes deeper because then you could say, oh, maybe they came from Ireland, or they came from Australia, or somebody somewhere else. They're still using Greek symbols, the alphabet. The
Mm-hmm.
alphabet is a European form, right? And the way of speech is a purely intellectual form of speech. So it is a language of mostly the mind, right? Where if you go into old African languages and indigenous languages, there's more layers to it. It has more it's more guttural, it's more physical, it has more feeling to it. There's more tone, there's more tonality. You'll hear it with Chinese people too. They'll be the same word, they'll be like, I don't know. Or it'll be like, I don't know. It'll be like this different words, you know what I mean? So when you really want to get to the crux of this language and get to the best level of speech, you got to go into their authors and you got to go into their speech, their orators. If you want to get the craziest words. Now, Khalid and Malcolm, they were the sharpest. That means whatever word they had in their use, which was because they read all the books, so they had mostly all of them. They were the sharpest I've ever seen in my life, even sharper than anybody of any race. I would say Khalid Muhammad specifically. I've never even heard him slip up. I don't even
Never.
think I've heard a from him.
Nope. Not
You
at
know,
all.
yeah. So people like that really influenced me. But musically, I would say Erykah Badu, Bilal, D'Angelo, first and foremost, beyond
Okay.
any rapper. Um, and then rap wise, we got like Big L, Lupe Fiasco, Jay-Z, Biggie, of course, Nas. You know the superheroes. You know all of them. But I would say like Eminem, Lupe Fiasco, uh, Big L, Jay-Z, Hovey Baby, Jay-Z specifically, really changed the way I looked at words and syllabics. My whole shit is rhyme combinations. So I like the mathematics of it. And I like to be able to braid and use entendre. So the mathematics of syllabics was mastered by Eminem. Uh, Metaphor punchline was mastered by those like Big L, Cassidy, those kind of guys. Entendre was I first really started to notice it with Jay-Z. He was using entendre more. He would use figurative speech kind of biblically. He would layer it allegorically. He'd be like, they say, you know, a midget standing on a giant shoulder could see much further than a giant. And he was like, I did it better, did it dice, did the impossible, then did it twice, get it right. So he was using this hyperbole. And then you got Lupe Fiasco, who was he would talk about he would see when I was poor I was low. Now when me and my chaps rock purple label, got Ralph Lauren on the mic, Laureate. Niggas brown nose, they are like Elf to him. You know, uh, he's niggas ain't stout. You know, he would say these. He was the most layered I've ever heard as far as using just pure entendre, going crazy, just saying shit that was just like he was like, and he was like, I moved keys. He was like, I can't think of it right now, but he was like really the first who had those crazy mind shifting bars. So basically, I took those parts and I turned up the volume on them. It's like create a player, but the mental facility, you don't have any limitations. Most people don't know that. It's not like physics. I used to like basketball. But I noticed that I couldn't do the things that I could do in my head, and I couldn't, there was physical limitations, man. No matter, I couldn't wake up and be 7 feet tall. You know what I mean? That's kind of difficult. Maybe I could if I started that thought process younger. But um, I believe that the mental game of this is what really attracted me. Just innately, I just had a good mind, a gifted mind, and so it just worked. It's almost unfair to be honest with you. You know what I mean? It's like there's probably some people who code computers and that are writing, movie scripts in Hollywood that would be the greatest rappers of all time. The rappers that we got now might not actually be the greatest wordsmiths we've ever had. Those people probably ended up going to college and getting their PhDs and moving on. Those were probably the people that innately had the linguistic ability to shatter this and be the greatest rapper of all time. But they went the other way. I was one of the ones that just kind of stopped everything. I was like, oh, fuck school, fuck it. I didn't even graduate high school, man. They didn't even let me graduate, dude. I was one of those guys who could have gotten into any college. But no, bro, it was bars, dude. I saw the light. I knew that. I'll put it this way, and I'm babbling. This is gonna be a classic. I haven't had an interview in a while, so I'm unloading on you, dude. Um, but fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. What was I saying, dude? What
You
was
was
I saying
talking,
before?
about basically you didn't graduate. You didn't graduate high school. You didn't go to college.
Okay, yeah. So okay, look. So from all right, most people like take somebody that goes to college, right? Imagine going to college and getting your degree. Generally, even somebody that only got high school, generally after that you get a job and you don't really have to learn anymore. You learn whatever's in the realm, and then people like you and me, like we're studying, we're watching lectures, we're doing studying for our own self growth. Like you say, your wife is into astrology. She has to constantly be studying, right? So sometimes we're blessed and we find something that gives us the ability to constantly expand our minds. what I've noticed through rap is that if you're writing the right way, you can. This is something that I would call syncretism. This is the
Yeah.
knowledge of all. When you master rap, and it forces you to have to properly place words in their proper context. This means you have to define all these words. Not only that, but if you're relating to something, like let's say I'm saying a scheme about bars, and I'm like, on rap tours we all bring grams, and I'm like, okay, Raptor, that's a Toronto team, and Aubrey Graham, that's Drake, he's from Toronto. I would have to look these things up to make sure these were right. Now I just picked up another fact. So there's all these things, like, so the deeper you get in, and words, you be like, yo, what rhymes with hamster wheel? You be like, some damaged steel. You can't damage steel. Well, is there some kind of steel that you can't damage? So I Google steel you can't damage. Damascus steel. Wow, what is Damascus steel? It's the most highly condensed form metal. It's the mythological sword. You know what I mean? So now I'm like, oh, hold on. I slash for real with Damascus steel. You know what I mean? Damascus shield. That's where it comes from. So now I know what Damascus steel is. Why else would I say that? You know what I mean? Only because of rap. I don't have to say that for no other reason. And then I go more and more, and all of a sudden I'm running into things. The other day I ran into things about Luke Skywalker. I basically had to decode the whole Star Wars characters. And then I went into a Dragon Ball Z scheme. So now I know Dragon Ball Z shit. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, it's the most amazing thing I've ever done, is as far as like making sure that I stay young and making sure my brain is constantly working. It's like constantly working on like a word puzzle or something,
Okay. Deep. That's deep. I'm glad you broke it down like that. Now, I gotta jump into this because this is something I've been wanting to know, and like I said, this is great. The Tupac
Murder Confession.
Murder Confession. Where did that concept come from, man? That is so beautiful. I just want to tell you, just when I first listened to the song, that was I did a reaction to it a couple of days ago. Like I said, I was blown away. I was like, what? And how you broke all that down and the numerology. I was like, wow, that is deep.
Yeah. First of all, thanks, man. And I'm always just as impressed by the people who can pick up on it and translate it, because that means we're on the same page. And I know what I had to go through to get all of that shit. So it really started off years ago. Like I think we released this song. What year was that? 2016. Yeah. 2016. I came up with that idea maybe 2013, 2012, man. It might have been 2012. And the original idea was to do a song where I was actually a dark spirit that killed all the rappers. So the idea was to chronologically explain how I killed every rapper in hip hop history. I might be giving away too much, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna do it. So I kind of really went into the thought of what that meant for me. I decided not to do it because there was a lot of rappers in there that were real sensitive material. And I wasn't gonna just stop at rappers, man. You know what I mean? I was gonna talk about everybody in the diaspora. So you had Left Eye, you got Aaliyah, you got a lot of people that are tied to the cloth. So but after really analyzing it and just really talking to myself, I kind of realized that Tupac was perfect because he was the most popular by far. His death was the most overly talked about. There was already so many people snitching about it. There was already, so much going on about it that I felt like it would even be less sensitive than, even though it's still tremendously sensitive, you know what I mean? Because, he was an amazing person. We didn't have to lose him. He's almost biblical at this point. You know what I mean? Once somebody is kind of casted in time like that, it's like really their story is known. You're just kind of just repeating something that's already there. So it shifted to that. I didn't really start working on it. It was just an idea, like, and I was like, yo, I got to do that. And I just made it up in my mind I was really gonna do it. I just had to pick the proper time, the proper beat, I had to do a lot of research, obviously, so I couldn't be lazy about it. So 2016 is when I really decided to do it. I was just we were like kind of between projects. We were looking for something that could really like just, show and prove and let people know the skill set. So we hit up V Don, who was the producer, real dope producer, worked with everybody, 50 Cent, ASAP Rocky, Conway, West Side Gun, everybody. So I hit him up, and I think I took 3 weeks, right? It took me maybe like 3 weeks to get the whole song written and recorded and everything. And then we dropped the video. But the concept was to kind of tell a fictionalized version of it to give you all the facts. So I kind of implemented myself into the storyline and in a way so I can give you an unbiased point of view by this, because it would be corny just to talk about his death, just say, yo, this that, just to talk about it. Like, the most interesting point of view is always the point of view of the victim, or the guy or the perpetrator, the assailant. That's kind of, Joker, you know what I mean? People were really into Joker, not Batman. Batman's corny, you know what I mean? The bad guys are always the coolest.
Joker, that's my favorite villain of all time.
Oh yeah, everybody. He was just so slick. He was witty, you know what I mean? It's the wit,
Yeah.
it's the swag, you know what I mean? But that's what it was. It was really about me taking all the pieces and me adding my internal compass to it, lining everything up, and kind of just condensing it so people can get all the facts at once, or as many facts as I could find, because you'll never get all the facts, you know what I mean? But as many facts as I could find that seemed to make sense, that can tie in. And then I added the metaphysical property to it too. So I tied it into the original Tupac from Peru, who died in a similar way at a similar age. The fact that his name backwards is ruckus kaput, or to kill noise, you know what I mean? Or even his birthday, his who his mom, everybody, everything about him, I mean, the whole Black Panther thing, you know what I mean? Peru, right? Go watch that movie Apocalypto. What do you see? A Black Panther in it. What do they got in Peru? Black Panthers all through that joint. You know what I mean? It's there's so many things that I couldn't even add in there, but I mean, it's so deep that it's beyond biblical. It's beyond human. It threads in. It's perfect math. It's perfect math. It's so perfect that it's scary. It makes you think that everything in life is scripted. That's how deep that is. You know what I mean? I'm sure everybody's story is deep like that. I got a song about Michael Jackson now I'm about to drop that people. It's not like Murder Confessions, but it's unbelievably fire. And it's gonna tilt people's brains. But yeah, the Tupac Murder Confession was a groundbreaking experience for me as a writer, because nobody's ever told a story rhyme like that. First of all the syllabics were intact, right? So it was all compound rhyming. I never did lackadaisical rhyming. If you listen to the rhyme scheme, it rhymes just like the best rhymers, right? Then there's punches in it. So I'm still giving you bars. I'm like, I say, he went to the Luxor, and switched into the jersey that he was wearing. Now, how do you want it video? So I'll be sure to ask him that, hands on the wheel, like you're trying to do the Cabbage Patch. These are still bars. These are bars you would probably hear inside of a battle rap or something. You know what I mean? And then, to add I just made sure I had every trick in the book. Like, nobody's ever done that in a story. You look through every storyline of all time. People tell the story and that's it. There's no reason for them to put bars in and go crazy. I just made it a playground. You know what I mean? With all due respect to his life. But I even had the gunshots, 12 gunshots, bop, 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 12. That's the number of disciples, number of hours, number of months. What's going on? You know what I mean? It's too much. But I figured it out. And then it got stolen and covered up. And, people, I hate to say it, man, but in it's gonna take a lot to tilt the earth to understand what's on the other side, bro. And you know, it doesn't deter me from keeping going because you got to think, bro. I did that. It only has 100,000 views right now. You know what I mean? Little yuck face could do a fucking song called Trailer Mouth and fucking get 1 billion views tomorrow, wearing a pink skirt and a fucking flower helmet. You know what I mean? That's what we're up against, dude. 1 billion views. You know what I mean? None of that shit, nigga. I could do this is superpowers, bro. Words are everything. You know what I mean? But yeah, dude, that song right there is completely groundbreaking. And obviously it was because the idea got a little snatched up. It completely terribly. I think it just inspired because like nothing in the song that was stolen, basically points to my song besides the entire concept. But obviously he couldn't replicate the writing, But yeah, man, I'm gonna just keep going. But I'm glad you liked it, man. And for the fans that haven't heard it, please listen to a Tupac Murder Confession produced by V-Don. And just have your Google ready to look up some shit and verify it with yourself.
I've reacted to Glasses Malone, Orlando Anderson, Tupac Must Die, the Orlando Anderson perspective. I did that on my channel. Mm-hmm. And when I reacted to the video, a lot of people in the comment section were like sending death threats towards him because of that.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, like that kind of actually shocked me to see that. I had to delete some stuff like this is kind of crazy to these death threats. But when I reacted to your song, and I'm just only being honest, it was just like an applause, like, yes, we want more of him, more of him, more of him. And it was just saying, we want this. Please, we want more music from him. It was nothing about, we don't want to hear it about, it was all about you. And I was just like, wow, that was just this dichotomy between you and Glasses Malone when I saw my page.
Oh, and that's so magical because literally we're talking about the same thing. However, he just did it in such a distasteful manner, you know what I mean? He just completely blatantly disrespected Tupac. And what I did was I was self-deprecative. I made myself the victim. And by the end of it, you felt sorry for the victim. Like almost like, damn, this nigga, like, he just got wrapped up in some shit. You know what I mean? I'm actually apologizing at the end of it. And I think people respect the creativity because here's on the real psychological aspect of it, there's a Tupac movie. That means there's already a human that had to portray his killer. Yes. Literally. There was an actor that was, holding a gun, shooting him. Nobody went after that guy because the movie is well made. You know what I mean? Because he's not saying, Tupac must die. They respect the fact that he's just playing that role of a villain. That's all I was doing in my video, and people that get into it can recognize that. If you don't get past the fucking first 2 words, you might, but yeah, once you get to the end of it, you'll realize, oh, he's putting together the pieces. He's playing a spirit. I wasn't actually in the car. I was fucking 9 years old when that shit happened. Glasses Malone, bro, that, I don't know how old he is. He could have actually been of age to shoot somebody around those times. Not saying anything, but, it means a little more coming from him. He was actually in California. He knows these people. There's a documentary somewhere on YouTube that's breaking it up. You know what I mean? They're talking about how, and I'm not going to repeat it. I don't, I'm not going to, but they're saying there's some whole deeper with the connections of who made that song we're talking about to who is the real people involved and why that song was made to kind of just glaze over everything. Because that song kind of makes it seem like the Tupac murder was literally just a gang thing. It was just, some guys hanging out in a casino, they see Tupac, they get in a fight, they get mad at him and shoot him. There is nothing else to it. There's no other reason, which is cool. Maybe that is true. But to me, like, I don't really know, bro. To me, there's always something else, dude. There's always something else, dude. You know what I mean? And hey, we've heard a million different storylines of this Tupac thing. And that was the first time I heard that one. You know what I mean? Like, out of all the shit, out of all the documentaries we've seen on Tupac and Biggie, how many of them had that? None of them ever said, "Oh, it's just some simple gang shit." That's never even been like. I mean, maybe you ever heard that, but I never heard that. That seems like that was made to just, add the jelly to the peanut butter, close the sandwich, put it in a lunchbox, get it, get the fuck out of here. A fake ass lunch, dude. That's what that was, bro. I got lunch. No, you don't, dude. You got a little concoction, bro. That shit'll melt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think in the last couple of years, people have been trying to push this gang culture of, wow, that's the reason why Tupac got killed. But like you said, all these documentaries that came out, especially in 2000, so many, connections with, oh, this is the reason why, and these are our theories. So it's just all of a sudden now it's something, it just, it makes you scratch your head, especially I'm from Los Angeles. I'm born and raised. So it's just like, there's certain things I know, I just be like, all right, I know it's more. I don't know, because some people just want to say, oh no, he had to do it because of this. Like, man, it's more to that. It's always going to be more to what we see. And like, to me, believe half what you see, none what you hear. Because ain't nobody really going to know everything behind closed doors.
That's it.
Yeah, ain't nobody going to know. Yeah.
And it could be true. And it could be true. But I'm just saying, like, I did a lot of research, and I never stumbled on that. So that's he just came upon a new discovery. Maybe that's the truth. Who knows? Maybe he's the fucking prophet, fucking God's next Messiah or some shit. But, all power to him. All I know is that, where this comes from, there's many more. This is so abundant. Somebody honestly, and now, I don't want this to happen. YouTube could have pressed the button and eviscerated this song, never to be seen by the galaxy again. The day after it came out, and I would eventually have something else. You know what I mean? So, look, man, we all got power to access the infinite. You just you have to have confidence that you do, and you have to have somewhere to put it. We all do it all the time. There'll be a kid in 20 years that wraps circles around me, man. Maybe 50 years, you know what I mean? But we'll see, Maybe not, though. But there's always somebody else, man. There'll be somebody to break Michael Jordan's records. There'll be somebody to break LeBron's records, you know what I mean? That's the way life works, you know what I mean? So, I just feel like when it comes to this creativity, it can't be capped. And to me, the Tupac idea, as far as coming from the point of view of the killer, it is a dark plight. It is absolutely a dark plight. You know what I mean? So for something like this to happen when it happened, I understand it and I accept it. I don't accept it from a human. You know what I mean? So I can't forgive people that, you know, if you're gonna be inspired by something, at least shout them out. That's really all it would have taken. You know what I mean? You take something, not to make it about that, but if he watches this, he'll know who I'm talking about. Glasses Malone. You could have easily went on one of them shows because they ask in plain voice, where did the idea of this song come from? How did you come up with this? And I'm sure you listen to my whole interview right now, right? Listen how I talk, right? Listen to the explanation I came up with to why I came up with Tupac Murder, right? And then listen to his. Oh, I just want to come up with a song that just shows another point of view. I think people need to see that sometimes. That don't sound like a intellectual guy who makes concepts and first point of view. You know what I mean? That's that. First of all, that song, it was really just the video. As far as the writing and the lyrics in the song, completely not on topic at all. But yeah, like to me, like that's all it would have taken was like, oh yeah, there was another guy who did this before. Even if you didn't kick it, you'd be like, yo, actually some dude did it before. I didn't listen to that, but I think there was a kid. That would have almost been lightly acceptable. But it goes deeper than that. But yeah, basically this idea was dope. It's sad. It's almost, I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing because I feel like him coming out with his version, it to me, it did what Mines probably should have did as far as it hitting certain markets. But maybe he took a bullet for me. You know what I mean? Because it seems like all these maybe even mine wouldn't have went well over, you know, on a big circuit like that. So maybe that was God's work. You know what I mean? Like, yo, let's, you know, throw him in the traffic. You feel me? But yeah, I feel like it's just a sign, man. It's a sign when you know there was a guy probably in a club somewhere doing the moonwalk. Actually, I think that's the story. The moonwalk was a club.
About that.
Yup.
I heard the moonwalk. Yeah, I was a child and I'm like, what? Like that? And my uncle was
moonwalk been around. But as soon as Michael Jackson did it, man, that boy, that was his. He named it. It was his. You claim it, you name it, it's yours. And shout out to the Clark sisters. But that's what they do. But however, Michael Jackson is nice. You feel me? Michael Jackson nice with it. You know what I mean? If you're gonna take something, make that shit better, dude.
Yep. Look at Allen Iverson, favorite basketball player of all time. He said somebody taught him to cross over. Somebody taught him to cross over.
Wait, say that again.
I said Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
He said that somebody taught him how to do the crossover on the playground. Right when he got to Georgetown.
His signature crossover.
Yes. Somebody taught him that in Virginia.
Wow.
Yeah. And he told the truth though. He said the dude was crossing me over. I'm like, yo, how do you do that? And the dude showed him. And he just put a little bit more of his on it, but somebody taught him that.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes, man. I mean, I learned everything from who the people that I exactly named, man. Studying these people. There's somebody studying me right now. But you know, absolutely, you gotta study. That's the only way we learn anything, dude. You know, shit. We were born late, dude.
Oh yeah. I just got just a couple of more questions for you because I know you got time. I mean, you gotta get your sleep, whatever. But I want to know what you think about the current state of hip hop rap. What you think about that?
Oh man, it's extremely interesting. I think bottom line, it's terrible. It's corny as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have trouble finding anything that I actually like, and when I do like something, I find that I'm usually just settling. I know I might just be like, oh, that's good, and then I really think about it. I'm like, nah, maybe it's not. I remember how I felt when I was buying, you know, Blueprint, and I was listening to Ready to Die. Ready to Die is so perfectly crafted. Jeez, right? Illmatic. Oh my God. You listen to even Come Home with Me, Cam, Reasonable Doubt. I mean, you're talking about, any of those albums, Black on Both Sides, Most Def. Every album back then, I was just going through all these Dilla beats, and I was freestyling the Dilla for like maybe 24 hours last night, man. And not that night has 24 hours. That's how you know I'm tired. But I feel like hip hop absolutely is dry. However, I wouldn't really know, and that's the good thing, right? Because hip hop has become, first of all, hip hop, and I explain this to everybody. Hip hop is a marketing. It's a straw man. It doesn't actually exist. It's a marketing term that they allow to stretch over and blanket over anything you call rapping, right? And rapping is a form of expression just like singing is. And singing is a form of expression just like talking is. But R&B can't claim singing. Just like anybody who country people sing, rock people sing, you know, Islamic people saying prayers sing, you know. For whatever reason, we call anything that somebody's rapping in, we call that hip hop. Those two words are almost synonyms, but they're not. Hip hop was a genre, it was a very early genre, and it switched up many times from that, man. You actually, I believe neo soul came from hip hop. You know what I mean? That was kind of the blending of hip hop and R&B. That's when Dilla came through and all these guys, and you Soul Aquarians, Erykah Badu. Erykah Badu started off as a rapper, so I mean, you listen to what these guys were doing, man. I mean, Now, but what I was getting to is maybe there are really, 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 really dope rappers that we don't know about, but you'll never know about them because we're not watching BET Countdown anymore. We're not watching TRL. There's no singular channel for us to get our rap. Like, if you don't know somebody, then you don't know them. If you're not subscribed to them, you'll never see them. If you don't follow them, you'll never hear them.
Yeah.
So right now, it's just kind of been segmented and fractionalized. So it's good though because now you don't have to interact with any system. Like we're getting to the point where like we don't want to interact with anybody in the system, not because we don't want to make money or because we don't want to get $1 million check, but because we've been denied so long that eventually that just starts to have an effect on your spirit. So
Mm-hmm.
you just want we have the tools now to act as a whole to where we don't need anybody. We can go straight to consumer. We don't even have to be a part of hip hop. They can't even blackball you anymore. YouTube, YouTube runs hip hop, really. YouTube and iTunes, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, that's hip hop because they are actually the ones that have the power to shut your system down. No hip hop, well, who the fuck is hip hop? You go into a label, the fucking staff changes every year. It doesn't exist. It's an empty building with a couple telephones, cords, and some fucking staplers on the ground. That's it, dude. So it sucks, bro. It's absolutely terrible, dude. Like if I'm a young 15-year-old right now, like okay, I'll put it in perspective, right? When I was 15 years old and I was rapping, I use that because that's when I gained my name. The rappers that were out were all lyrical giants. Everybody was a beast. Papoose, Cameron, J.R. Ryder, Cassidy. You had the whole G Unit. You had everybody else. You had Nas. You had the legends. You had Jay-Z was still out. DMX was still. Everybody was ill. And then prior to that, everybody was even iller. You know what I mean? So it was only thing we knew is lyricism. Like so, every young kid trying to rap was getting their bars up. Now, like, let's fast forward to now. If I'm a young kid, there's no reason for me to dig into the crates of lyricism because I don't see that. You know what I mean? The same way you might not, you probably turn on your YouTube right now. You're probably not gonna see Little Yachty's vlog of him buying a doghouse because you're not subscribed to him, right? Well, guess what? Lil Yachty fans ain't subscribed to us either.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not gonna see lyricism. They're gonna literally be that same 50. I'm gonna be 15 now, and when I turn on my radio, instead of seeing Jay-Z and Nas and Dipset and lyricists, I'm gonna see little yacht. I don't know their names right now, but little Pump, little Zen, little School, little Poo Poo, all of these motherfuckers, right? Those are the people you're gonna be writing like. And
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, technology is so readily available, right? Everybody can afford a mic and recording software. You don't have to sharpen yourself before you record yourself. You don't even need to, no human needs to even hear it before you put it up. Before you had to buy studio time. So your rhymes were in your head for months before you could afford studio time. You're battling. You couldn't even say you were a rapper because somebody's going to challenge you. Not only that, but literally you couldn't even get your song anywhere. There was no internet. So the only way anybody's gonna hear you, so your song got to be good enough to be heard. So nowadays it's completely different. There's no learning curve. Uh there's no filtering process, and you don't have to be good. And not only that, writing has gone away. So are you aware of this phenomenon? I remember when I was young, Jay-Z always used to say he didn't write, and you hear stories about Biggie and them didn't write, right? Now that process has been mastered now. What these men used to do is they either had a pre memorized verse, or they would go in and they would just kind of layer it. So they would go in, they hear the beat and be like, niggas is mad I get more butt than ashtrays. You'd be like, all right, stop it. And then
Yep.
they hear that a couple of times, and then be like, all right, play it again. Fuck the fast one I play Bond the Plies way. And then you think, but every rapper does that now. Like all the young rappers, they just go in. There's videos of a young thug and he's just kind of mumbling. He'll mumble. It's just like this. He'll be like, "That's what I do when I go to the gym. When I go to the gym. That's what I do when I go in the gym." Okay, keep that. I go to mile, walking to YMCA. Why am I out there? I go there, walking the mile, go to YMCA. Walking the mile, go to YMCA. Keep that. So he literally the first thing that makes sense he keeps. It doesn't have to. The first coherent words he keeps. It could be Rugrats eating Band-Aid juice. All right, keep that. It don't matter, bro. As long as it comes out in its language. So that's what's happening, dude. So that's a long answer to say hip hop sucks. But there's examples like me. Like sometimes you get like you have do you have kids?
Not yet.
So I'm sure if you do make that step and you're going to show them music, you're not going to be showing them little squat. You're going to be showing them fucking
the essence of hip hop from here.
exactly. So we will have. So those super mutants will be more super than us because now you're going to have more conviction in how you present your music to them, and it'll be a greater plate. Now you got everybody. So and it's all on Spotify. So you don't even got to dig through the fucking crates. You could be like, look, this is the only music you're listening to. No little squeeze. Only these motherfuckers right here, bro. And that's what you're gonna basically, and they can be better. They can get better as a rapper now because you got the studio equipment, you got the internet, you got the phone. Everybody, the source is up. You know what I mean? Like, if I taught a class, bro, for rap, we'd have fucking superheroes. But that's my plan, bro. Because I think you don't even need any other subjects in school. This is my theory. If you just taught rap, the kid would learn everything: science, math, history, everything. Just writing one rap, he'd have to learn everything, math, everything. Mm-hmm. It's the grand theorem. I always ask people, what's the black people's greatest invention, the pyramids or hip hop? You got to think about that because, hey, they're basically the same thing. It's a multi-linguistic system.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's deep right there. That's deep. I like that you brought that up. Not another question. I don't know if you follow any sports, but if you do, you have any sports teams?
Let me think about that. Nah. My Grammy was when my RIP to my Grammy. When my Grammy was alive, I used to watch UConn basketball, University of Connecticut basketball, the Huskies. Because she graduated, she was from there. But I kind of lost touch with basketball. I noticed that basketball, they mastered that shit, bro. Like it's almost like watching the Harlem Globetrotters, bro. These motherfuckers are shooting fadeaways from 30 feet away. I'm like, bro, like the rules got to evolve with these they're too good. Basketball players are too good, bro. Like honestly, like I got bored with it. Same thing with football players. Like, so I just watch literally just MMA. I watch MMA and boxing. So I would say that I don't have any favorite sports teams. I literally only watch fighting. It's non-assumptive. All other sports are metaphorical. Fighting is the closest to real warfare because the concussion and the strangulation are the assumed deaths.
Okay, so you speak in my language. So in boxing, who are some of your favorite fighters out right now that you look at?
Oh, man, we're in one of the best eras for boxing ever. Maybe when we're talking about overall the weight classes, I don't know if there's ever been a time where almost every weight class was incredible. So that actually is a hard question because you got obviously like the eye test, like watching Lomachenko and the way he does his L steps and his movement and the way that he's like always in the eye of the fire, never gets hit. So you got Lomachenko. And on that same note, you got Terrence Crawford, who's very similar. Switch side. Basically he fights with both hands. You got Errol Spence. Of course, I like Gervonta Davis. I really like Gervonta Davis, and I really enjoy his growth and evolution. If you listen to how his speech has evolved, he's actually becoming more intelligent. And of course, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, man. That's really my favorite shit right now. Yeah. That's my favorite. Like, they're the most exciting. Like, okay, those young guys are the best boxers in the world, right? It's to the point where it's kind of like basketball where we had my favorite boxer ever is besides Muhammad Ali. He was kind of like you got to put an asterisk next to him because he was more than a boxer. But Roy Jones Jr., I felt like he was just so talented. And you had like Pernell Whitaker. You had a couple niggas who was just like, okay. But these new niggas, bro, they're basically unbeatable. Some of these niggas is like, these Lomachenkos, these Terrence Crawfords, these Errol Spencers are basically like Floyd Mayweather kind of niggas. Like Floyd was unbelievable. He was always so on edge. But Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury's box, he's the closest heavyweight we've ever seen to Muhammad Ali, bro, honestly. His movement, his hands are crazy. And Deontay Wilder is pound for pound the most powerful boxer there's ever been. 210 pounds, he's slapping people senseless.
He got that vibranium in that right hand.
Bro, yeah, he's mythological, bro. Like to the point where like we are witnessing gods in real life. We're witnessing like demigod type people, bro. It's like this shit is absolutely biblical as it gets. We're watching Titans, bro. You know what I mean? These motherfuckers, bro, look what they're doing, bro. This guy goes in there, he's wearing these crazy masks. He goes in his fucking ring. His last fight, he knocked that guy so hard, bro. Like, it was just...
Yeah, I saw that.
Bro, it's like, dude, these guys are mythics, bro. Like, and then you got these NBA players. Like, what does this mean? Like, how would this actually translate if it wasn't for sports? You know what I mean? Like, if there was no sports and there was only warfare, you talking about take all the best NBA players, take all the best MMA boxers, all the best and these big fucking 7 foot tall people, these 400-pound halfbacks, all these niggas will be fighters. The best fighters aren't even fighters. That's the scary thing. The best fighters in the world are in the NFL and in the NBA.
Yeah, for real.
You know what I mean? But that's why the heavyweights used to be better back in the days because the football players weren't getting paid as much. Facts. Once NFL started getting $100 million contracts, why would big Steve Randolph be a boxer when he could just fucking play football and get a sky, be a millionaire by the time he's 20 and never, fucking have to really fight? They just, the bigger you are, the less you have to do on a football field, really. Because just stand there and be like, what the fuck do they, like, I'm disrespecting them at this point, but no disrespect. You guys are fucking Titans. You run through me, you run over me like a fucking traffic cone. So I won't say shit. But y'all know what I mean, though, bro. Like, the big niggas, they're not fucking twirling in the air like fucking Randy Moss,
Yeah, you're right. Shout out to Randy Moss, that's my boy. So tell us about the new album, the EP Holy Ghost 2. Tell us about the features, production, and how long it took to record that project.
So Holy Ghost 2, that's me and Black Magik. Black Magik it's really Holy Ghost 1 and Holy Ghost 2 are really the introduction of Black Magik. That's Brother Rich from Black Magik 363. His production. So it was really me as a featured artist, and so I wrote all the songs. He made all the beats, and I really started. Holy Ghost 2, we really started the recording process in, I'd say, late April, like April 24th or something like that is when we started with like Shaka Zulu. That was the first song we made. And we got done with it probably, the day that we released it. Like, literally, like, I got done with the last song, which was King of the Jungle, on July 26th. So it's basically exactly 3 months.
Okay.
Completely written and recorded and released in 3 months. So, which is, basically as fast as you want to go. You know what I mean? That's a lot of work for that time. The way I write in the process of making sure that we made every beat fresh, every beat was made in the studio. So it was like, and we're only meeting up once a week. It's not like we're in there every day.
Okay. So just wanted to let the subscribers, viewers, anybody that's looking at this interview right now, please support Cambatta, the projects, all his projects. He has a website. I'm gonna definitely make sure he tell you about his information towards the end of the interview. But I just want to let them know that right now because we need to support you know, real hip hop, people that's actually doing this from the heart. Don't get me wrong, everybody wants to eat, but somebody that's actually trying to bring something new to the table. It's like we don't need to regurgitate the same type of information that's being passed down for the last 4 years. We need new information. We need a new type of flow, new type of style, and that's what Cambatta has been bringing, and especially to some of the tracks I've listened to. I was like, wow, I'm very impressed, man. It makes me feel good when I hear stuff like that, because it's like I'm Afrocentric, and when I hear your type of music, your music is for everybody, and everybody can feel the music, and that's what I feel like. I mean, I would never say it's tailored to just but Black people only. I feel like anybody can listen to that and be like and be educated. You're a professor. You're educating people of history, so many layers you're actually unraveling. And I'm like, wow, that's actually deep. I'm actually letting you know that about yourself from my perspective. Anytime, my pleasure. I got to be honest about it when I'm speaking the truth. I mean, because if I was doing an interview with like a little waddy, whatever, I think they might be mad at me because I have to just tell them the truth. Like, yo, this is not fitting for me. There was a guy last weekend in my live stream, and he said, "Can you listen to my new song?" So I listened to his new song, and everybody was in a live stream. We heard it, and he said, "What did y'all think?" And everybody trashed him. Everybody trashed him, and I kept it real. I said, "Listen, I don't listen to stuff like this. I need substance." And I said, "I'm not trying to disrespect you. I think you need to go back to the lab and really try to figure out who's your audience. Who are you trying to reach? Are you actually trying to get a message across? Or are you just being what? Because everybody's doing it. You have to ask yourself that." And then he jumped off the live stream that quick because I guess he couldn't take constructive criticism.
It's hard, man, especially when you're raw and all the criticism is everything. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, what do you do? Everything, dude. The whole shit is gone, bro. But I appreciate it, man. And that was kind of the point of this. Like, in my personal projects, that aren't because this is a collaboration project. Generally, I go as far left as I always can. Like, I always keep kind of a thread in the current, but I'm not a socially conscious rapper. I don't do current events. I don't do things that are in the social parameter. I don't do, new mass shootings. I might mention some if it fits in a rhyme scheme, but I don't do anything until it's been cemented in time. I like my rhymes to be timeless, and I like them to be meaningful, and I like them to be holistic. A lot of the things that come out, when they come out, you don't know what's really solid, what really has any solidity until years pass, and most things corrode real quick, especially things that come out now. So I'm very careful about what I say. And when it came down to this project, because we were marketing it towards basically the Afrocentric community, or what most people dub the Black conscious community, I made sure that I was latent with certain linguistic points. So there's songs that are more kind of latent with linguistics than others. Some of them are still like this is a very balanced album. Probably most balanced album I've ever done, because I had Black Magik there to kind of dictate and compose the sound, and I just kind of follow his lead rather than saying, you know what, I don't want to go with that kind of sound. I was like, all right, that's the challenge, so I went with it and just did the best of my abilities. And I think it came out fantastic. And I think it drives home the message. There's some songs in there for all levels of knowledge, intellectuality, or wokeness. There's songs like I would say, like, for the high level people who are looking to really get the language, you want to listen to Journey of Heru and Yahweh Shai.
I heard that.
Yeah, Journey of Heru is basically, it sounds like another language. You know what I mean? The second verse is like, Bata the old goon conqueror, old doo a babalu Ghana babalu honorer. And, a Ludamari in Ghana is God of us. Yahshua got the stew hotter than Mama's Damata. You know what I mean? So I said, Bata, the old battler, God. I said, Bata, the old battler, old goon conqueror, old doo a babalu honorer, Oludamare in Ghana is God of God of us. It's God of us. You know, I said, you know, Mama got the Bada got the stew hotter than Mama's Damada. Damada is a peanut butter stew from Ghana. It's a West African stew my mom used to make. You know what I mean? So if you go over that verse right there, right, and you say and you repeat that verse in your head, you just evoked about 7 different African gods in one sentence. And you also just gain knowledge on a popular West African traditional dish. You got some wild stuff in there, and it just keeps going, bro. And so it does work on you without you knowing. See, internal mantra and these words and these deities are not these you know, they're not beings. They're principles, right? They're principles, just like somebody repeating a prayer, right? And they represent they represent different facilities of nature and also the body, just like the chakras do, or the Kabbalah system does. So when you incite these deities, you're not evoking some spirit to take over you. Essentially, you are. That's how it translates. But you know, it's not some spookism. It's not some pseudoism. You're talking math. If you say a certain, here's how this works, right? And this is how language works. If I say apple, you know that word, so you get a picture in your head of an apple, right? Words are just telepathic word vessels, right? So, however, the more detail I give you, the more detail the picture in your head is. So if I say green apple with a hole with a worm, and it's rotten, and it's sliced down the middle, and it's got a bite in it. As I say that, your visual changes, right? Some words you don't have to add that much detail to. They are already completely holistic in a sense. So when you say a God's name, it's usually completely balanced. So when you're talking about Allah, or you're talking about Yahweh Shai or Yahshua, you're talking about the words that generally have the male and female included. And etymologically, it means something much deeper than just a name. So that's what's happening when you're listening to these verses. And of course, unless I tell everybody, you know, it's kind of one of those things that might get kind of scathed over. But that's why I'm thankful for you be able to give me a platform to be able to speak and tell people what's going on.
Oh, most definitely. And like I said, and just for you to mention the Yoruba, Ifa, Orisha's deities, I know exactly where you're coming from. A couple of weeks ago, I just gave a presentation at a high school about African spiritual systems. I actually broke that down because I actually wrote a thesis about African spirituality, more about the Akan. It was my focus on the Akan when I was in graduate school. So when you talk about that, you speak in my language. You speak in my language.
Wow,
so.
I didn't even know you were that deep into it, man. You know more about it than me. I just know everything from an etymological sense, you know. I break everything from the word.
But just you breaking the words down is something that captures my attention. Because trust me, I've always been about language. You know what I'm saying? I've always paid attention to words. That's why certain of my favorite hip hop artists, rappers of all time, the wording, decoding that message in my mind. You know, decolonizing what is in front of us, but trying to just figure out, like, okay, I see what they're saying. Because like Master Killer said in Triumph, when Wu-Tang dropped, he said the blind is always led by the drum. You know, you got to pay attention to the words. And when you know what I'm saying, so when I first heard you rapping, I'm like, yo, I ignored the beat. I'm hearing a cappella. And that's why I tell people, remove the beat, pay attention what they're saying. What is the message? That message is something that can actually help you, and you can store in your mental core a lot. A lot of people don't understand that, because that drum, if they just hear the drum but they don't hear the words, they're gonna be lost, and they'll actually be taken to the wrong tunnel. I hate to say it, because that beat will just take you somewhere else if they're not paying attention to the words, because that message will save you. And that's why when I heard you on some of your tracks or whatever, I was like, damn, he's spitting something. His message is real deep. And I had to go back a couple of times to pay attention to you. Like, hold on, I got to hear that again, because what the hell he just say? That's how I knew this is real. It's just like if I'm reading something, no, go back and read. I know it's real. Like, I know this is real.
Yeah, there's something that happens with language that has me that has me to a point in my life where it's almost life or death. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's completely scary. I mean, it shakes me up. And I've noticed it, especially when I've been through different psychedelic episodes, or I go deep into dream states.
Mm-hmm.
This language is so serpentine and so living. It's so genius that I don't know if any human could have ever invented this.
Mm.
It is the most. It is. It's beautiful, but it's scary. Like even on my song Yahweh Shai, I said I said I said Yahweh I said can't even think about it. I can't. I said I thought I told you I was high. I'm Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shai was I. Waving
Mm.
Allah high, but Allah was shy. Wanna wash your eyes, ayahuasca wise. So all of that's Yahweh Shai. That was all extrapolated from Yahweh Shai. I said, I thought I told you I was high. I'm Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shai was I. Waving Allah high, but Allah was shy. Wanna wash your eyes, ayahuasca wise. That's when you start really getting into how these words connect and how this is actually a alchemical process.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about combining atoms and creating new elements, right? You're talking about something subatomic that you can't see. I think this happens with words primarily first. It's spoken first, right? And they say and then he's what then there was light. It's spoken, you know what I mean? I believe that some of these theoretical concepts don't exist, but because they're spoken and because they're not doubted and because a whole lot of minds hold that word, it becomes solidified and manifested in physical reality. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes a new element new. You know what I mean? Essentially, when you even look at, if you even look at H2O, look at hydrogen, look how every element came from one. Isn't that the number system?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that how the zero's the egg and it cracks into the one and the one wants to see itself so it becomes a two and the two is like, wait, we need somebody else and it becomes a three? That's the same thing that happens with atoms and that's the same thing that happens with words.
Yes.
And it's so deep. And I mean, whatever's happening with this new English language is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And the one hint is rap in other languages. I would love to see how if it can get as far as rap in English because of the melting pot that we have here with the slang that the westernized blacks have created. We can create different forms of this one language and make it way more flexible than maybe any other language in history. That's just maybe my theory. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what other languages are capable of. I'm not a multilinguist, but I will say that I could come up with any word and make it make sense. I used this example before. If I say, yo, I saw this one girl, bro, she was at the mall, bro, she had a big combo. You know what I'm talking about, even though I
Yeah.
made that word up, because it's about the context. And then as soon as a couple people start saying it, it's introduced into the language. Now are all other languages like that? Is there that much flexibility and the ability for the user to self-create? I don't know. And I think that's what makes America, that's what makes hip hop. That's why I had to come out now. You know what I mean? There were forms of rapping, there were forms of other music. Tribal music has a chanting aspect. It's all rapping. Rhyming is not new, right? But the combinations and where we took it in rap and what we did with the technology is what made it. We blended all the elements on this. That's why the mathematics talk about elements. This is the kind of the culmination of folk chant music. But like it's something, we're doing something here, man. We're doing something here with this hip hop shit and with this language shit that I'm afraid if there's not enough of us here to keep up the art form, it's gonna die. It went over to battle rap. People are beating it out of each other.
Yeah.
The beautiful languages and pools of blood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Think about that. Motherfucker spent 3 months defiling somebody. All his best bars. Devil's like, Yeah, I'll give you a. Let me get all your words. Yep, I want those too. Here's $10,000. No problem. Thank you very much. You know what I mean? With this music shit, you make sure that it's there forever. That's the one thing. I won't say that I won't do. I won't do a battle rap, but the devil gonna have to have a nice little check. Right now, I say 10,000. I might do it for 10,000, honestly.
Okay. Okay.
You know, if it's the right person, you know. But it would take some. It would take maybe not even 10,000. Nah, I would say $20,000, bro, because I would have to take 10. I would have to take some months to completely reform my mind. But that's where all our best linguists went in hip hop. All of them went over to hip. All of them went over to battle rap. All our best lyricists that are the next Jay Z's, all of that, battle rap.
Okay. The show. Well, I've got three questions left, and they're simple questions you can answer real quick.
Yeah.
Last three of the questions will be: have you ever traveled to Africa or any country throughout the African diaspora?
No, not yet, man. That's my dream, my wish. I want to real soon. Yeah, we got a large South African fan base. Like almost like 50% of the fan base is South African. So we gotta definitely get there soon.
Well, I just want to let you know, on my channel, South Africa is the fifth country that has the most subscribers on my channel. I'm just letting you know. So,
Wow.
South
Wow. Shout out to South Africa, bro. Yo, I don't know what it is, man. It could be my name, it could be my music, it could be my message, but it really connects with South Africans. And they're so intelligent. Like, I mean, dude, you got to think, bro. They're like a whole continent away, and they're coming out here. They're extrapolating all this shit, bro. Like it's cheesecake, bro. This is their shit. They're like, oh, this is our channel. You know what I mean? We ain't tapping into nobody else's channels. You know what I mean? They're going the extra mile to see this shit, bro. And bro, that's inspiring, man. And my wish is to go over there, bro, for sure.
Okay. We're gonna manifest that. The second last question will be top 5 rappers of all time that you have.
Top 5 rappers of all time. It's funny, every time I get asked this question, I forget. I would say, yeah. I would say, I mean, I gotta say Jay Z. It's not just a fluke. Like the way he delivers his message, the flawedness. He's just so flawless. He's not the greatest songwriter, but he's pretty dope. His language is crazy. Jay Z. Nas is probably most consistent at effectively executing conceptual pieces. Plus his Illmatic project and Lost Tapes, and I would say even the second project, I believe that was I Am, or It Was Written. It Was Written. Those projects right there were superb. Also, Stillmatic was superb. Absolutely. Y'all the man. That's oh my God. Even Heaven Was a Mile Away from Godson. So I would say we got Jay Z, we got Nas, of course Biggie.
Okay.
Biggie to me was the most perfect rapper, bro. Like his rhythm, dude, yeah, he's just flawless. So Jay Z, Nas, Biggie, Eminem, Lupe Fiasco,
Mhm.
and I can't, the only reason I can't say DMX is because he's like a fighter that kept fighting too. Eminem's like that too. But Eminem and DMX are interchangeable. But Lupe
Okay.
Fiasco, because of what he did, he took that pen basically almost farther than most humans, with the exception of me and a few others.
Okay. For sure.
Yeah,
For sure. For
yeah.
sure. Thank you. Thank you. I love your top 5. And the last question is, are there any rappers you would like to work with in the future?
Definitely, man. I've been trying to reach out to some of them. First of all, Bilal. Bilal's
Okay.
Bilal to me is basically the greatest. Erica Badu, the other greatest. D'Angelo, I would say D'Angelo, but to me, he's like an oracle in a mountain somewhere that you gotta like almost die to see. So I would take him out that list. But Lupe Fiasco, Daylight, and RJ Payne, who I'm supposed to be working with them soon. But Daylight,
Okay.
RJ Payne, Lupe Fiasco, Bilal, Erica Badu. Um, That's really it. I mean, everybody else kind of stands alone. There's really no reason. I like Kendrick is so self included, Drake. These guys don't need really features. Like the only reason I would really spar with these other guys is because they're nice at a specific style set. You know what I mean? Like Lupe is the language god as far as like entendre and shit like that. Like I said, you know, until my egg cracked and you know my fucking ass came out. You know, but you got Daylight who's right there. As far as you know, he's kind of under the tutelage of like a Lupe as far as like his etymological use. So you got R.J. Payne is like a Ogun god. He's like Payne. He'll be like, you know, gun to your head. Like everything he says is just like fucking just it shakes. It's just like fucking. He's basically Deontay Wilder. But then Bilal is just so beyond. Bilal and Erica are so beyond that. You know, I got a lot of work to do before I think that I could.
Okay.
You know.
I saw you did a song with Styles P. That's one of my favorite rappers of all time. I was very happy. I'm like, wow, you did a song.
Yeah.
I love the Ghost.
Yeah. Shout out to that song that was put together by that was called The Watchmen, put together by Nino Bless. Crooked Eye was on there. Styles P, me, Nino Bless, Styles P, Crooked Eye, and me was on that, and I got to go first on that, and that was like my first time really getting on a track with such legendary people, man. And I was just I was the youngest guy on that track, the most unknown guy, you know. So it was great.
Well, let everybody know where they can purchase your music. They can follow you on social media platforms. Let them know right now, please.
Yes. Cambatta, man. So you can find me. Well, first of all, project out right now is Holy Ghost. That's Black Magik, Cambatta. You can find that at Black Magik, www.blackmagik.com, and that's Black Magik Music, and that's Black Magik with a K, not a C. So BLACKMAGIK music.com for Holy Ghost. The digital version goes to iTunes and Spotify on Friday the 13th. Which is also the day of Tupac's passing. So this is all synchronicity, of course. Also, you can catch my music at www.cambattamusic.com, and you can find me on all social networks at Cambatta Music.
Okay, I would definitely put all your information in the description so everybody can see that. I'm gonna have it at the top, so every subscriber, viewer, whoever comes across my page for this interview, they're gonna definitely see that because I want to definitely support you. I just want to let you know I appreciate the time. Anytime you drop any new music, please let me know. I will actually do a reaction review on my channel to support you. If you ever come to LA, you and your manager, I would definitely like to link up with y'all, get something to eat. Because like I said, love is love, man. I appreciate real people doing real good things out here. Like I said, hip hop might be dead, but there's a resurrection of Hey Rue coming, which is you.
Yo, love, man. King, once I would love to come see you out there, man. It's been love, man. Thank you for having me on your channel, man. It means the world, and I'm gonna support you. So the love is reciprocated 100%, man. Thank you, man.
Anytime. So, like I usually say, King Kofi, salute.
Hey, peace.